As the Zodiac Killer used to say, you're back again. Dr. Dave here with you. I have remembered the solution to the last line of the 408 Cipher. I can't believe it took me this long. I can't believe that he let me read the solution to the 340 Cipher and I didn't remember it. But this is a fun thing. I got a couple other things to tell you too. Let's go to the cipher itself. See if I can make this work. Here we go. Come on. This is the last line of the cipher, which reads like this: EBE or I to me the pity. Now listen to me for a second. EBE or I eat me the pity. Frank said, what do you read there? And I said, I don't know. It says meth, pity at the end, and there's a drug called meth. I told you about that before. But he goes, but what else do you see there? And I go, I don't know. He said, what about the part before that? And I goes, it kind of looks like eat me. And he goes, yeah, eat me the pity. And I go, okay. And he says, so now you have the solution to this line of characters. He told me he wanted me to understand how to understand it. And I said, okay, but what does the EBOR mean? He goes, well, what do you say to somebody before you tell them eat me? And it was something like, well, you have to accept whatever I give you, which is what he's telling you here in the cipher. He's talking about, murder and slaves and hell and all that. You either accept it or eat me the pity. And the pity, I asked him, what's the pity? And he said, me the pity. Let's just get a good look at how he did that, because of course he's going to use his gestures and turn his back to me. And he says, I said, what does the pity mean? And he goes, me the pity. Turns his back, me the pity. Frank, you wacko. But that's the solution to the last line of that cipher. So if anyone does solve it, you'll know that you heard it here first. I'm putting this on here on January the 21st. Hold on. January the 21st. No, it's the 20th. It's the day before my birthday. Today's the day that Trump goes out of office and Biden comes in. Okay, so he's telling them how he murders people, slaves in hell, and all that stuff that I wish I could choke him for because he killed all my girlfriends. And then he says, if you don't like, you can either, I guess EBE means either you can accept it, because there's an or there, either you can accept it or eat me. Why it's I eat me, I don't know. I just think he stuck that letter in there, because if you stick it up next to the E and eat, it just all comes out with the same sound. Because I remember him telling me, sound it out. You know how to sound out letters, don't you? And I go, yeah, eat me the pity. So you know about that. Now, the other thing that I want to tell you about is the Hee Haw show. One of my subscribers spent hours working on this with me, and she really helped me kind of solve that thing. It turns out there was a movie called It's a Wonderful Life, which was an RCA movie, I believe, or RKA or RKO, I think, or RCA, I don't know. But those are the kind of movies that Frank liked from back in the 40s and 50s and 30s and I don't know what. This one starred Jimmy Stewart. And Jimmy Stewart acted a lot throughout the movie. He was either up and, wacko or down and getting depressed. I mean, they really played him up to be bipolar. I think back then they thought that being bipolar was some kind of great thing. I don't know, before maybe they didn't understand it, but nowadays they put them on medication for that. But anyway, and the thing, I watched this movie, the older one. There's a newer one that came out in color in the 90s, but the older one, which was I think 49, black and white, and very eerie. with everybody acting bipolar. And there was a guy in there who sold knives, who was a psychopath, and he would open up his shirt and had all these knives in there and get this big eyes. It looked weird as heck. And he took out the knife one time and he's looking at it like he's going to stab this guy he's talking to. Well, I remember Frank talking about those things in that movie, and he connected that to the Hee Haw show and the guy that would say a slip of the tongue. Oh, and I forgot to copy that other letter for you. That I think it was this cipher at the bottom of it. It said, "I don't want you to know who I am because you could figure it out by a slip of the tongue." And that had to do with the Hee Haw show. And the reason he connected the things together was because on this movie, It's a Wonderful Life, they mention the words hee haw at least 9 times through the show. People going hee haw about different things, including some kids and out playing and different things. So there are also there's like 3 different people in there named Frank that are producers and directors and that in this movie. And I think the main character's name might have been Frank in the movie. I don't know. You go look it up and find out all the details. But another thing that really stands out about this movie, there was an angel who was going to come down to Earth to help this guy who was the main character, Jimmy Stewart, with some financial problems that he had and that kind of thing. And interestingly enough, the angel's name was Clarence, and they called him Clarence the Angel. Now think about that. Clarence the Angel, Clarence Anglin. That's, the kind of thing that would just titillate Frank Morris's mind and make him connect everything up. Now, we solved the Hee Haw thing. We've solved the last line of the 4808 cipher. We're working right now on the Mothman. There were some letters written, notes that were put. My understanding, he put the note on a girl's door that, he was going to get her or whatever to keep her scared. And she was one of the ones that saw the Mothman flying around chasing her. And I want to get the pictures of the Mothman because you can see the legs, and you don't know what John Anglin's legs look like, but I do. And that's his legs. I don't know how Frank, that's probably one of his most hair-raising things that he did to convince people that the Mothman was chasing them all the way to town. He would have to have a lot of ropes and a lot of trees. But maybe he made a kite and tied it to their bumper. I don't know. Frank go out of his way for anything. And if we could get some, law enforcement info around the time that was going on, how many missing persons were there that may have been victims of these guys, the Zodiac killers, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, in that area at that time? Because that's how they made their living. That's how they were able to construct these suits and everything to look like a bird or a moth or whatever, because they would kill people and have their fun and the whole necrophiliac thing, and then they would rob them and use the money for whatever they needed it for. There is also a letter where they threatened someone who was doing research on the Mothman, told him to stop researching, and said, "You have been warned." I mean, you read it, it's classic Frank Morris, classic Zodiac. And the Men in Black, that happened at the same time, I think in the same town. 3 guys dressed in black walk into a bank. I don't even think they had masks on. They just had hats and things that they could cover up, and they put makeup on or something. I don't know. I forget. I gotta go look it up because there's a picture. They actually got a picture from the what do you call it? The security camera in the bank. And these guys did that. Frank bragged about that too. Okay, well, I get I'm going to answer some questions. One thing, I get lots and lots of people who give me the same comment, and I'm so sick of it. Did you ever go to the police about this? I've told you in multiple videos I have. I hate it because you guys watch 5 minutes of one of my videos and you come up with that garbage. You know, why don't you watch the rest of them and find out what really happened with these guys? I was there, brother. Now, you that's the big one. Did you go to the police? So yes, I went to the police. I had police officers working with me on this. We almost caught him a couple of times. I almost shot Frank Morris behind the dairy inn, and the cops got there just in time to get us out of there. And then they came back the next day when I wasn't there, and they made the lady disappear that worked there with me. And she'd been working many, many years with my boss, and he was really angry about it. Then they followed me to the other place where he moved me to get me away from him. There's a whole story about that to tell too. But yeah, I went to the police. I am working with a federal agent right now on this thing, but he just can't get down here often enough. You know, and he told me, and I can understand it. You know, they have so many new cases popping up every day. That's where they have to put their attention. They don't want to take a bunch of money that they're using on a new case and go put it in a case that's 50 years old. It's too far back there. They don't really care if you solve who it is or not. But the truth of the matter is the FBI doesn't want it solved because they know that Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers were the Zodiac killers, and they don't want to admit that they escaped from the FBI's escape-proof prison. That must have been J. Edgar Hoover's last dying wish or something, because he's sure done a good job of covering it up all these years. Now, let's see, what's the other dumb question I get asked all the time? They ask me, are they still alive? I've told you guys that the Anglin brothers are still alive, or at least they were 5 years ago when I saw them in Florida. Now, the Frank, I think he is either gone or sitting in a wheelchair with only one lung, because he had to have surgery for some tumors in his chest. And now you ask, how do these guys pull this off? Frank told me years ago that when they got old and couldn't run their business anymore, they were going to steal people's identities and collect their disability checks or their retirement checks or whatever, Social Security. And that's probably exactly what they did. Now, I'm imagining that's how Frank paid for the hospital where he had his tumors taken off of his lungs, which, you know, I've never heard of any of them even trying that, and I've never heard of anyone surviving it. But if you're out there, Frank, let me just say, there's a nice guy in you, and I want to say hello to him, but the rest of you is garbage, okay, with your split personalities. And the Anglin brothers, the big suckers that went along with the whole thing and killed and murdered and tortured all these people. I don't see how, pardon me, but I can't see how anyone can enjoy something like that. It's just, I'm knocked myself out to try and get a girl's phone number, hoping that maybe I'll get a kiss later on. And you guys are doing this stuff to them. You mean, come on, man, what's wrong with you? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm up on it today, man. If you can either accept it or eat me the pity. I'm the pity. That's what Frank Morris wanted you to know in the last line of the 408 Cipher. I hope this helps you to understand more about the Zodiac Killer, D.B. Cooper, and frankly Morris and the Anglin brothers, because they were the same people. And I thought of something about D.B. Cooper the other night that I wanted to tell you. What was it? Something that related back to some of these things. I don't know. When I remember it, I'll do another video. I hope y'all enjoy these videos. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video so that maybe someday they'll think about sending me some money for all this work I do. But at least the only thing I get out of this, I want you all to know this, the satisfaction that I'm telling people the truth about these guys, that I knew them and I knew what they were doing and didn't understand it. But the truth is out there. You don't have to wonder about all these mysteries. They're not mysteries anymore. Now I have a lot of competition out there, other sites on YouTube and websites and everything else, who would do anything they can to keep my word from getting out there, because they are in the business of perpetuating the mystery of these guys. They don't want the case solved. The last thing they want is somebody to walk in here like me and say, hey, I knew these guys. Well, you know what I got to say to those guys? I knew these guys, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're not going to change it. And I'm going to keep telling the few people on the planet who are interested in the truth, I'm going to keep telling them the truth about this. And the rest of you guys can keep lying and making lots of money. I'll just keep getting poorer. Have a good one, folks.